Have you ever looked at a process maybe in your day-to-day work or a big project or even a whole business and just thought, there has to be a smarter way to do this?
Yeah, that feeling.
Right, that kind of universal itch to do more with less, to hit excellence. That's exactly what we're getting into today.
And we're going deep. We're looking at a really holistic approach called Lean MBA. And, this isn't just buzzwords.
No.
Our insights today, they're pulled straight from this really extensive ebook compilation by Vishnu Rayapeti. It's basically a comprehensive guide to, well, best-in-class practices.
Okay, so our mission for you today is to get past the surface level stuff. We want to unpack what lean really means deep down and understand those often kind of overlooked reasons why so many attempts just fall flat.
Right. The failure rate is surprisingly high.
Exactly. And crucially, how you can actually harness its power for real sustainable gains.
Oh.
So expect some practical takeaways and, probably a few surprises along the way.
Always a few surprises.
So when we talk about lean's origins, where do our materials say this all began? Was it some, grand theory or more? Gritty. Born from necessity.
Oh, absolutely born from necessity. No question.
Right.
Our research points us straight back to post-World War II Japan. Toyota, specifically.
Right, Toyota.
Yeah, and you have to imagine the constraints they were under. Severely limited resources, for one, and this burning need to catch up and fast with the U.S. industrial giants. Ford and their mass production model were just dominating.
So they couldn't just copy Ford. That wasn't an option.
Precisely. They just couldn't compete on scale. So they had to find completely new ways to maximize what they did have while cutting out every single bit of waste possible.
Resourcefulness, then.
Total resourcefulness. Groundbreaking stuff. Then you fast forward to the 1970s and the whole market shifts under everyone's feet.
How so?
Well, it went from this high-demand era, everyone wanting the same standard thing, to more of an economy of offer. Customization started becoming key.
So responding quickly to specific customer wants.
Exactly. Not just churning out masses of identical products. Industries suddenly need to be agile, economical, and respond to demand pulled by the market.
And that shift leads directly to the Toyota Production System, TPS.
That's the one. The new model, the foundation that really started turning heads globally.
But the name lean, that actually came quite a bit later, didn't it?
Yes, much later. The term lean itself was coined by James Womack back in the 1980s.
Right.
And then he and Daniel Jones really popularized it with those massive books, The Machine That Changed the World and Lean Thinking.
Seminal works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And at its heart, lean describes a state, a waste-free environment. But it's more than that. It's a mindset, really.
A mindset?
Yeah, a mindset for achieving this totally waste-free operation that's just laser-focused on your customer success.
Right.
It's about simplifying, continuously improving everything, processes, relationships, all built on this bedrock of trust, respect, and getting everyone involved. Full employee involvement.
So the goal isn't just, being efficient for efficiency's sake. It's delivering perfect value to the customer.
Exactly.
With zero waste.
Yeah.
Optimizing that whole flow, the value stream.
It's a whole value stream.
Okay, but why Lean MBA? Is it really like getting an MBA? That demanding?
Well, the ebook draws that comparison because, yes, it requires a similar kind of dedication, a deep systemic understanding.
Okay.
Lean MBA isn't just learning a few tricks. It's about building a whole new business architecture to actually manage and sustain lean successfully over the long haul. It's like a complete re-education in how a business should run.
Wow. So for those of us thinking we kind of get lean, what are those absolute foundational principles, according to Womack and Jones, the core ideas?
Right. They laid out this 5-step thought process. It basically reorients the entire organization.
Okay. What are they?
First, specify value, but strictly from the end customer's viewpoint. What do they actually care about?
Makes sense.
Second, identify all the steps in the value stream and then ruthlessly eliminate the ones that don't add value, the waste.
Get rid of the junk.
Pretty much. Third, make the remaining value-creating steps flow smoothly, without interruption.
Flow.
Fourth, let customers pull value. Don't push stuff onto them. Let their demand trigger the upstream activities.
Pull, not push. Got it.
And finally, step 5, pursue perfection. Continuously improve the process. Never stop.
Relentless improvements.
Exactly. And what's really powerful about these 5 steps is it's not just about cutting costs, though that happens.
Right.
It's about tuning the system so tightly to customer value that waste just naturally disappears. which leads to less effort, less space, less capital, less time needed.
And better result.
Yeah, lower costs and fewer defects. The real kind of aha moment is realizing that doing less waste, less unnecessary work actually leads to more quality, more speed, happier customer.
Okay, that sounds brilliant on paper. So the big question then, if lean is so logical, so powerful, why do the stats say nearly 2/3 of implementations just fail?
It's a stark statistic, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And even for those that get going, only a tiny fraction sustain results for less than a year. So what's the uncomfortable truth here? Why the struggle?
Yeah, that's the critical question for anyone thinking about this. And the material we dove into is pretty clear. The problem usually isn't the tools themselves, the 5S, the Kanban boards.
Like the techniques?
Exactly. It's this overlooked but critical aspect, which is that lean demands a completely different set of expectations, norms, behaviors. It needs a whole new culture.
Ah, culture. Not just tactics.
A culture of continuous improvement, not just adopting a few techniques here and there piecemeal.
So it's not just about, say, doing a 5S cleanup or running a just-in-time pilot project. What are the main ways companies trip up? Where do they stumble?
Well, one of the biggest ones consistently is a lack of real, total commitment from the top. Senior management and, crucially, middle management, too.
So leadership buy-in.
Deep buy-in and day-to-day involvement. Lean is a philosophy, right? An integrated approach. You can't just issue a command from the C-suite or delegate it down the chain and expect it to stick. It needs active leadership.
Okay. And I've heard this phrase, islands of excellence, used when talking about lean failures. What's that about?
That perfectly describes implementing individual lean bits in isolation. A Kaizen event over here, maybe a 5S project in that department.
Right. Little pockets of improvement.
Exactly. But if they're not integrated into a comprehensive system that looks at the whole value stream, you just get these fragmented wins. They don't add up. They don't create sustainable system-wide gains.
Makes sense.
The ebook is actually quite blunt about this. It says Six Sigma, for instance, which is brilliant for tackling defects and variation, can be almost worthless if it's done in isolation.
Worthless. Wow. Why?
Well, think about it. You could use Six Sigma to perfectly optimize a process for making something nobody actually wants, or create a super efficient way to build up inventory that just sits there, gathering dust.
Optimizing the wrong thing.
Precisely. The real power comes when you apply Six Sigma's precision within that lean framework, making sure you're perfecting the processes that deliver actual customer value and eliminate waste right at the source.
Okay, that connection is key. And then there's that Dr. Deming principle, constancy of purpose. So many places still run on, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Which is totally reactive.
Absolutely reactive, and it's a massive barrier.
But true operational excellence, like our material suggests, needs that proactive, relentless drive for improvement, doesn't it? Always looking for the next gain.
Always. That reactive mindset is a huge blocker, and it often ties into another major hurdle, middle management resistance.
The middle managers. Why them specifically?
Well, one survey in our material cited nearly 40% of people pointing right there. Think about it. These managers are often judged by traditional metrics, ship, volume, hitting quarterly numbers.
Old school metric.
Right. And they worry, sometimes rightly, that new lean metrics focusing on flow, quality at source, waste reduction, might expose problems in the old system they're used to, or just disrupt their routines, their perceived authority.
It really boils down to a fundamental mindset shift then.
Huge.
The material we looked at has this great comparison chart. Traditional thinking versus lean thinking.
Yeah.
Really nails that resistance.
Oh, yeah. That's powerful.
Like traditional thought, we've never done it before. Lean thinking, we'll be the pioneers.
Or it's good enough versus there's always room for improvement.
Right. And the ultimate one, shifting from I can't to I can.
That shift is everything. So for you listening, maybe pause and think. What assumptions are you holding on to in your work, maybe even in life? What might be blocking your own progress?
That's a really good question. It goes way beyond just business practices. It's about how we approach challenges.
It truly does. It challenges the very way we think about problems, about potential, about solutions.
Okay, so we've talked about why lean often trips up the culture, the mindset being so critical. But when it does work, what does that look like?
Right.
And what are the actual methods, the tools organizations use to make it happen? Let's get into the lean toolkit.
Right, but maybe think of them less as separate tools and more like interconnected parts of a finely tuned engine.
Good analogy, because the central theme, the fuel for that engine, is waste elimination, right? Muda?
Exactly, Muda. And it's honestly staggering when you see the numbers. Our research suggests traditional businesses often operate with something like 95% non-value-adding activities.
95%. That
Oh,
can't be right. That's huge.
it sounds unbelievable, but when you start mapping value streams, you see it. So much waiting, moving, inspecting, reworking.
Wow. Just hidden cost everywhere.
Yeah,
And Taiichi Ohno, the Toyota guru, he famously ID'd 7 deadly wastes.
he did. And later, an eighth was added, the waste of non-effective use of staff talents, underutilizing people's potential.
Right. Often remembered by that acronym, downtime, defects, overproduction, waiting.
Non-effective use of staff, transportation, inventory, motion, excessive processing, downtime.
But knowing the list is one thing. Where do companies still struggle to actually see or root out these wastes, even when they know the definitions? What's the sneakiest, most overlooked waste in your view?
Oh, that's a good question because, yeah, everyone can point to obvious defects or piles of inventory.
Sure.
But I think the most insidious, the one that often hides other problems, is waiting.
Waiting. Why waiting?
Because when things are waiting for information, a signature, a machine repair, parts, it's not just idle time. That's capital tied up, customer value delayed. And critically, it often masks a bottleneck somewhere else that really needs fixing. Waiting is a symptom.
Okay, I see that. Anything else high on the overlooked list?
I'd also say non-effective use of staff talents. It's huge.
Yeah.
So many organizations just fail to tap into the brain power, the creativity, the problem-solving skills of the people doing the actual work. They leave this massive reservoir of potential completely untapped.
Right, not engaging people properly.
Yeah.
So spotting the waste is step one. But the material emphasizes there's no single silver bullet for fixing it, right?
Yep.
Often it's a mix-and-match approach.
Definitely. A blended model is often best. You draw from several world-class practices.
Like what? What gets blended?
Well, you've got the core principles of lean manufacturing itself, maximizing customer value, minimizing waste, producing value with less of everything.
The foundation.
Right. Then often combined with Six Sigma, that super disciplined, data-driven method for squashing defects, driving towards that, almost mythical 3.4 defects per million opportunity.
Using DMAAC and all that.
Exactly. Define, measure, analyze, improve, control. Then you might weave in the theory of constraints, or TOC.
Gold rat stuff.
Yep. Focusing laser-like on identifying and breaking the few constraints, the bottlenecks, the delays that are holding back the entire system's performance.
Find the weakest link.
And exploit it, elevate it. And finally, you often see elements of total quality management, TQM. That's a broader strategy focused on quality, involving everyone, aiming for customer satisfaction and continuous improvement across the board.
So the smartest companies pick and choose, integrating these thoughtfully.
That seems to be the most successful approach, tailoring it to their specific needs and context.
Okay, so let's make this concrete. What does this look like day to day? Let's walk through some key lean tools. If you want to find where the waste is, where do you start?
You almost always start with value stream mapping, VSM. It's fundamental. It's your diagnostic tool.
How does that involve?
You literally map the flow. If it's manufacturing, you walk the floor. If it's an office process, you trace the steps. You visualize how material and information move.
Material and information, both key.
Absolutely. It helps you clearly see where value is actually being added, and more importantly, where all the waste is creeping in. The waiting, the rework, the unnecessary movement.
And you keep doing it.
Oh, yeah. It's often called peeling the onion. You map, you find waste, you eliminate it, then you map again, and the next layer of waste becomes visible. It drives that continuous improvement cycle.
Okay, so VSM shows you the what and where. Once you've mapped it, how do you make value flow smoothly? That's where just-in-time, JIT, comes in, right? Getting things there exactly when needed.
Exactly. JIT is fundamentally a pull system. Actual orders, actual consumption trigger the production or movement of upstream items. It minimizes the need for big stockpiles of inventory just sitting around.
And a core part of that is Takt Time.
Yes, Takt Time. Think of it as the heartbeat of production, synchronized perfectly with customer demand.
The rhythm.
The rhythm. And for folks familiar with this, the real trick isn't just calculating the formula, net time available divided by customer demand.
Right.
The challenge is actually maintaining that steady beat in a real-world dynamic environment, getting the whole system to pulse together at that rate.
Which leads to flow production, that ideal state.
The ideal, yes, continuous one-piece flow. The complete opposite of making huge batches, letting them sit, then moving them. Flow is about no wasted time from start to finish. minimum lead time.
And underlying this is the pull system idea.
Fundamental. Production is based strictly on what the customer actually pulls, what they demand, not on forecasts or guesses about the future.
Can you give an example?
Well, the classic example often cited is the Dell computer model, especially in its early days. Your order essentially triggered the entire assembly and supply chain process, almost an ideal pull system.
Okay. And managing these pull systems often involves Kanban.
Yes, Kanban is crucial. It's often called the nervous system of lean.
Nervous system.
Yeah, because it carries the signals. Its origin story is famously from supermarkets, right? Seeing how shelves were restocked only when items were taken.
Ah, the signal to replenish.
Exactly. Kanban is that visual signal. It could be a card, an empty bin, a space on the floor that says, hey, we've used this, we need more. It inherently prevents overproduction because you only make or move what the signal asks for.
Smart. Okay, what about load leveling or hijonka? Sounds complicated.
It sounds fancy, but the idea is simple. It's about being the tortoise, not the hare.
Okay.
Instead of having wild swings, rush orders, then dead periods, you level out the production volume and the mix of products over time. It creates a much more balanced, predictable workload, which avoids all the waste and stress of those hurry up and wait cycles.
Smooths things out. Got it. And for flexibility.
Yeah.
Making different things quickly. That's set of production, SMED.
Yes. Single-minute exchange of dies. Game changer.
How so?
This was pioneered by Shigeo Shingo. He figured out ways to drastically slash changeover times, the time it takes to switch a machine from making one product to another. We're talking going from hours, maybe 10, 12 hours, down to under 10 minutes in some cases.
Hours to minutes. Wow.
The impact is just massive. Suddenly you have way more capacity, incredible flexibility. You can make smaller batches economically, respond to customer needs faster. Huge competitive advantage.
Okay, another big pillar is building quality in at the source. Jidoka.
Judoka. Critically important. It's about empowering workers and even machines to stop the production line immediately if a defect occurs.
Stop the line.
Yeah.
That sounds counterintuitive. Won't that hurt production?
In the short term, maybe. But it prevents that defect from moving downstream, getting built into more products, causing huge rework or scrap later. It forces you to fix the problem now, at the source.
How does that work practically? How do people know there's a problem?
Well, tools like Andon are key. That's the visual signal system, maybe a light board, a pull cord. Someone spots a problem, they trigger the Andon, and everyone sees it immediately. It brings instant attention.
Okay. And then there's Poka-Yoke. Mistake proofing.
Yeah, Poka-Yoke or error proofing. This is genius. It's about designing processes, jigs, fixtures, even software, so that errors are physically impossible to make, or at least immediately obvious if they do happen.
Like a USB plug.
Perfect example. It only fits one way. Or maybe a machine guard that has to be closed for the machine to operate. It takes human error out of the equation where possible. Simple, but effective. And finally, there's something that seems basic but keeps coming up. Creating a visual workplace using 5S.
Ah, 5S. Seems so simple, right? Sort, set to order, shine, standardize, sustain.
Yeah, basically tidying up. Why is that considered a foundation stone of DPS?
Because it's so much more than just tidiness. 5S is fundamentally about discipline, standardization, and visual management.
How so?
When everything has a place and is in its place, clean and ready to go, any deviation, a missing tool, a leak, misplaced parts becomes instantly visible. Problems can't hide.
Ah, it makes problems obvious.
Exactly.
Right.
It reduces wasted motion looking for things, improves safety because hazards are cleared, and honestly, it boosts morale. People prefer working in an orderly, efficient environment. It forces good habits. It's the bedrock for everything else.
Okay. And keeping the machines running smoothly to support all this, that's total productive maintenance, TPM.
Right. TPM isn't just waiting for things to break. It's a proactive program.
Proactive how? It involves operators in basic maintenance of their own equipment, doing preventative checks, cleaning, lubrication, and it focuses on analyzing breakdowns to find and eliminate the root causes, not just patch things up. The goal is maximizing equipment uptime and quality.
Is there a way to measure that?
Yeah. The key metric is overall equipment effectiveness, or OEE. It combines availability, is the machine running when it should be, performance, is it running at the right speed, and quality, is it making good parts? OEE gives you a really clear, holistic picture of how well your equipment is truly performing.
Availability times performance times quality. Got it. Okay, we've covered a lot of tools and methods, but you mentioned earlier that lean isn't just tools, it's culture. Let's dig into that human core.
Yes, absolutely crucial.
Our deep dive material points to respect for people as the second pillar of that Toyota house. right alongside continuous improvement.
Yeah.
How does that actually play out differently than, say, traditional management?
It's profound, really. The material tells this powerful story about Toyota back in 1950. They faced hardship, had to do layoffs, and the founder's son, Kiichiro Toyota, actually resigned in sorrow over it.
Wow.
Yeah. And that experience deeply embedded this idea that trust is key. A vow, almost, to never let that happen again if possible. So for Toyota, problem solving is the highest form of respect.
Problem solving as respect. How?
Managers respect employees' knowledge and experience by actively involving them in solving problems, not just telling them what to do. And employees respect the bigger picture, the company's goals, by bringing their best thinking to those problems. The material flat out states, the human dimension is the single most important element for success.
So it's about empowering people to fix things, not just execute tasks.
Exactly. Building a system where people feel safe and encouraged to identify and solve problems.
So developing that lean culture characterized by humility and respect, how do leaders actually make that happen? What are practical steps?
Well, the material suggests several key leadership behaviors. Things like really listen. Don't just wait to talk.
Active listening.
Yeah, don't waste people's time. Value it. And crucially, go to the Gemba.
Gemba.
Go see for yourself where the work is done. Get out of the office, walk the floor, observe firsthand, understand the real problems. Don't rely on secondhand reports.
See it, don't just hear about it.
Exactly. Also, focus on developing people, acknowledge their accomplishments genuinely, temper your own authority, promote from within when possible. There's this critical insight. The shop floor is a reflection of management.
What does that mean?
If the shop floor is chaotic, disorganized, struggling, it likely reflects issues higher up, lack of clear direction, lack of support, lack of respect, inconsistent leadership. Management sets the tone.
That makes sense. And this focus on people naturally leads to employee engagement.
Absolutely.
The Gallup research cited is pretty compelling. Engaged employees aren't just happier, they're way more productive, profitable, safer.
The numbers are stark. Engaged teams drive significantly higher earnings per share growth. It's not just a nice-to-have HR initiative. It's a hard-nosed business driver.
Yeah, the material mentioned that in world-class companies, the ratio of engaged to actively disengaged employees can be like 8-to-1.
Compared to an average of maybe 1.5-to-1, that huge gap shows the direct link between a lean, respectful culture and bottom-line results.
Which brings us inevitably to managing change. Because all this requires massive change, and people often resist that, right?
Oh, inevitably. Change is hard. People resist for all sorts of reasons. Fear of the unknown, fear of failing, losing something they value, leaving their comfort zone, maybe just plain lack of trust or inertia.
So how do you navigate that? How do you facilitate such a big shift?
Communication is key. You have to clearly, repeatedly explain why the change is needed. What's the burning platform?
The why.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you absolutely have to win hearts and minds. You need to sell the benefits, not just for the company, but for the individuals involved. What's in it for me?
Right. Why IFM?
Explain how it's going to work. Provide solid training and support. Follow up constantly. Don't just launch and forget. And crucially, celebrate the early wins. Build momentum. Show people it's working.
The material mentioned a change management matrix. Awareness, interest.
Desire, action. Yeah, it's a model to think about the stages people go through. You need to guide them through awareness of the need, build their interest, foster a desire to participate, and then enable action.
And connecting this back to leadership, there was that phrase, lead the organization as if one had no power. What's that about?
It's a really powerful idea. It means you don't rely on your title or authority to make things happen.
So not command and control.
Exactly. You lead by example, through coaching, by influencing, by genuinely helping people understand and achieve their goals. You build a system where people want to contribute, want to improve because they're empowered and respected, not because they're told to.
Okay, so pulling this all together strategically, how do organizations make this stick? How do they build it into a lasting advantage? It starts with an operational excellence strategy.
Right. Built on that shared vision we talked about, clear values, a commitment to developing people, and really well-managed processes.
And to roll that strategy out effectively, there's Hoshin Kanri.
Hoshin Kanri, yeah. Sometimes called policy deployment. It's a system, really, for cascading the top-level strategic goals down through the entire organization.
So everyone's aligned.
Exactly. Making sure everyone, from the CEO down to the frontline worker, understands how their daily work connects to the big picture objectives. Tools like the A3X chart can help visualize those connections.
But it's not set it and forget it. The material really stressed assessing readiness and continuous adaptation.
Absolutely vital. It's not a one-time project, it's an ongoing journey. Organizations need ways to self-assess things like lean manufacturing assessments or business integration assessments to see where the gaps are, set baselines, and figure out where to focus improvement efforts. Radar charts are often used for that.
Because it's about relentless improvement, right?
Relentless. Systems have to grow and adapt because the market changes, technology changes, customer needs change. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow.
And to keep things consistent.
Documentation, documentation, documentation. Seems boring, but it's critical. Documenting processes, standards, successes, failures, that's how you maintain controls, learn from mistakes, and share knowledge effectively.
Okay. And finally, sustaining the momentum, celebrating wins, sharing the gains.
Hugely important for morale and continued buy-in, you need to acknowledge milestones, celebrate success, and sharing the profits, whether through bonuses, reinvestment in better equipment, training, or even benefits for customers, creates this virtuous cycle. It shows people that their efforts are valued and contribute to shared success.
No, what's really interesting is how these lean ideas born on the factory floor have spread way beyond manufacturing.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredibly versatile. We see lean supply chain thinking now.
How does that work?
Applying the same principles, waste elimination, flow, pull across the entire supply chain, working with suppliers, optimizing procurement, streamlining warehousing and transportation, reducing waste and improving responsiveness end to end.
And lean distribution, too. Getting products out the door.
Yep. Things like rigorously tracking and analyzing shipping errors, reorganizing warehouses for maximum efficiency. The material mentions putting high-volume products in easy-to-reach gold zones.
Smart.
And ensuring really tight communication between departments like purchasing and the warehouse so you don't end up with mountains of inventory you can't store.
And even into the office. Lean office and administration.
Definitely. Huge potential there. Think about all the non-manufacturing processes, order processing, engineering changes, purchasing approvals, invoicing.
Lots of waiting and handoffs.
Exactly. Loads of waste potential. The material gives this great example of a car dealership's service check-in. Applying lean thinking, cut the time from 30, 40 minutes down to under 15, just by streamlining the paperwork, the approvals, the information flow.
Wow. Significant improvement.
It's about optimizing the flow of information and decisions, not just physical parts.
And briefly, the material also touched on lean for sustainability.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Lean is inherently about reducing waste materials, energy, resources. So implementing lean naturally improves environmental performance too. It's a win-win.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've gone deep into lean MBA. And the big takeaway seems to be it's so much more than just a set of tools.
Much more. It's a fundamental shift in thinking and culture.
A holistic approach, really,
Yeah.
to business excellence, driven by this relentless chase for perfection, eliminating waste everywhere, all focused on delivering what the customer truly values.
That sums it up well. And maybe connecting back to that bigger picture, that I can't versus I can mindset.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, where in your own life, your own work, could you start applying these ideas? Seeing waste differently, fostering more respect, embracing that idea of relentless improvement, even in small ways.
Because if you're asking, when's a good time to start thinking differently, to start transforming how you approach things using these lean principles,
Right.
then maybe the most powerful insight from this whole deep dive is that the best time is always, well, now's good.